Hey everybody, it's Mr. Campbell here with Mathematical Anarchy, and today we're talking about relations and functions. A relation is some relationship between two or more sets of information. A function is a special type of relation where each input has only one output. That's important, only one. It makes it predictable. The domain is a set of all input values of a relation, and the range is a set of all output values of a relation. Both of these are going to be considered ordered sets. We're going to list the values in order from least to greatest. So to think about how a function works, I want to think about it as a vending machine, the function machine. We know how a vending machine works. A specific button combo gives only one product. We have inputs as the buttons, and we have outputs as the product. The domain would be all of the possible different button combinations, and the range would be all the possible different products. To take a look at some relations that are not functions, for the first one, we have the relationship between the miles per gallon and the weight of a vehicle. And we could see that as the weight of the vehicle increases, the miles per gallon decreases. What we should also notice is that there are several different weights of cars that have different miles per gallon associated with them. So the question we have to ask is, does each input have only one output? Does each weight only have one mileage? And so the answer is no, because cars of the same weight have different mileage. For our other relationship, we have the age of trees and their height. Again, we can see that as the age increases, the height increases. We can also see that for different ages, okay, there's different heights. But does each age only have one height? The answer is no, because we can see that there are trees that have the same age that have different heights. So both of these do not represent a function. For the next one, we're taking a look at the relationship between of killings by law enforcement and the year. And that can be found at mappingpoliceviolence.org. So the question we want to ask is, does each input have only one output? And the answer is yes. Each year has only one number of killings, so this is a function. The domain would be the different years that we have, and we list them out from 2013 to 2020. And since time is in order, naturally, these values are already form an ordered set. The key thing is to use D for domain and curly braces as part of our set notation, with commas in between each value. For the range, we're looking at the different number of killings. The harder part here is that you have to put these values in order if they aren't already. And for normal phenomenon, things go up and down, and so these values we have to put in order. Again, we're using curly braces and commas to separate each value, and R to represent the range. Our next example takes a look at the number of deaths in Arizona. We have several functions here, and for each one the question is, does each month have only one number of deaths? Now there are multiple functions, so we might think that there are multiple different values, but as long as we don't have multiple values for the same relation, then we're okay. So in this case, each month does have only one number of deaths for each of the relations for each year. The domain is going to be the different months, and we're going to list them. So for 2020, we can see that the domain is only from January to July because those are the only values that we have. Listing out the range for 2020, we put the values in order, and we can see that the minimum value is 5,269 and the maximum value is 7,903. So one of the nice things about having the range is it's going to tell us the global minima and the global maximum. For the 2015 to 2019 average, again, the domain is months, but this time it includes everything from January to December. The range is the different number of deaths. We list those in order, and again, we can see from finding the range, the minimum is 4,641 and the maximum 5,680. Again, benefit of having the range. So in order to be a function, each input of a relation has to have only one output. So this tells us that the input is what determines the output. Again, thinking about the function machine, the buttons we press determines what we get out. So since the output depends on the input, we would say that the output is a function of the input. So we've talked about functions, how to determine if a relation is a function or not by asking the question, does each input have only one output? And we talked about finding the domain and range, the list of input values and output values correspondingly. So go ahead and try the practice and write down any questions that you might have and come to class ready to get the support that you need. Good luck.